Hello, my name is Michaela Marvin, and this is my case review on He Blew the Whistle. A little case summary. James F. Alderson, he was a financial officer at North Valley Hospital. He worked there from about 1984 to 1990. In 1990, the hospital got new management, and because of this new management, it just changed his life. The managers came in and they were demanding that they create two separate cost reports. One that had was very heavy on expenses, and that would be the report that they give to the government. And then another one that was a more realistic report they would keep internally, and then in case of audit, that would be the report that they would use. And Alderson was not comfortable with this practice. He said that was not something he would do, and he basically refused to do it. And within the next few days, Alderson was dismissed from his job. And because of that, he ended up having to move his family to a much less comfortable situation. And he really just was not a fan of his life. And that's when he kind of was thinking about it and was like, if the name of the company, the management company, was Quorum. And he's like, if Quorum is doing this, then the HCA is probably doing this, which means a lot of other hospitals and big companies are doing this as well. And he decided to look into it more. So he filed a lawsuit against the hospital, against the management company, due to, wrongful termination. I don't know why that just left me. So he filed a lawsuit due to wrongful termination, and then the next several years, about 6, he spent fighting with the legal system and working to get his case to the government level. So it was sealed up until that point, and then once it was unsealed, the government was able to take over and filed their own lawsuits against these big mega companies that ran hospitals for defrauding the federal healthcare system, because with the reports being provided, they were getting a lot more funding than they should have been. The IMA statement. So how does Alderson's actions relate to the IMA statement of ethical professional practice? To review, these are the principles and the standards of the IMA. It's just saying that IMA's overarching ethical principles include honesty, fairness, objectivity, and responsibility. And their standards, they just have a responsibility to comply and uphold with the principles. And the standards of competence, confidentiality, integrity, credibility, and incredibility. So that's what we're going to be focusing on here, is how his actions responded to the standards. First, for competence, Alderson kept his ground when confronted with this new reporting system. He stayed professional. He didn't blow up. He didn't make a big scene. He just kind of took it. He respectfully left when he was asked, and he chose to keep the law in his actions to prepare and present one cost report. Confidentiality. In this case, he worked a lot behind the scenes. He kept his identity confidential when he was working with all of the caseworkers in the legal system, as well as conducted himself in an appropriate way when reporting information, like hospital information, to lawyers and such. Integrity. In the initial test, when Clyde was one of the managers of Quorum, suggested the 2 reports be ran, Alderson refused to participate. He held to the fact that he had never made 2 tax returns for a client, so why would he do 2 cost reports? And he didn't just let the fraudulent acts go. He reported them and stayed with them until the very end. Credibility. His actions in the legal process were long and treacherous, but he kept it up. He was honest the whole way and continued to be honest, and those actions held up for him. So as the resolution, through his actions and reports, he was able to expose mega companies and mega management companies for their fraud against the federal funding. The process took him nearly 6 years, and it was a lot of work, and he, as I said before, he stuck with it, and he made sure that justice was served to those companies, at least until the government was able to take over and do a inspection of their own. And that was kind of just his whole thing. Back to kind of this IMA statement of ethical professional practice. I think he did a really good job of conducting himself in such a way that he followed these standards and these principles.